several layers of yellow tape where I'm going to clamp the 90° so that I do not mar the connector. Now, of course, this plated finish is non-stick, so I've got to secure my masking. I'm going to engage a dummy connector into the straight, and this will allow these to be held in the vise. We'll get shot at a specific angle like this, but once they're filled and the back grommet is pinned, then these can come out of the vise and just hang while they cure. By the time I go through all of these connectors, the first one, the alcohol will evaporate it away and it'll be ready for me to prime it. So the primer is only necessary on the plated, the 90° back shells have to use this tool here for potting. What this tool does is allows you to have a line that you fill to. When the cap is put on, the cap will meet the potting compound and thereby have no air between the cap and the potting compound. Basically a fill marker. Fill to the edge, little flange here, and that means that it's full. We need to clean these, scrape leftover silicone that's cured and dried on it with the back of the Q-tip. So now I'm just going to walk over and use the air and blow this off. I've blown off excess loosened material. Now I'm going to go back over these with alcohol swab to get them very thoroughly cleaned so there's nothing that will contaminate. Be careful not to lose your screws. One of these drops on the floor and it'll be gone forever. And they're not magnetic because they're stainless. So you're not going to find them by sweeping the floor with a magnet. They don't have to be tight, they just have to be snug. And that's how we prepare the 90° for potting. Okay, so I'm going to take my weight of my first one, which is 3.182, multiply by 2, gives me my final number of combined product at 6 ounces, 0.364. Now this needs to be as exact as possible. Here comes the part of the reasoning for using part B first is, as you will see, if I go over, I'm going to make myself a nice puddle of this in the middle on the top. So that'll get written down. That's when the two parts were poured together, and that begins the time. So this has 2 hours, 8 minutes of pot life. So it's vitally important to make sure that this is very thoroughly mixed. So we get all in on the sides and get that material all into the mix. I'm just going to place it in the vacuum chamber. Turn it on. I like to look. Once it gets greater than 25 inches of mercury, you'll be very easily able to see I need it to be level and two planes. $70 degrees. There we go. Push up. And the same thing here. And tighten down my vise. The vacuum portion of this is this little dial here, which allows me to control how much vacuum I'll make sure that you get them drawn down to the bottom, otherwise they'll leak past the thread. Already, it's set at 23 psi. 24 psi is max for this product. Very important to do so that no air gets trapped. The Q-tip is quite good at soaking up the excess silicone, but we need the alcohol to dissolve it to actually get it out of this knurl, which is a ground strap area, like that, which is coming out both holes. Now I'm going to engage my push pins, my plugs. Now when you push the plug in, you push it down in, you need these special pliers so you don't lose it. And then once you get past the grommet down here, there's a recess in the bottom of the grommet to receive the head of this. And you'll be able to feel it engage. It's engaged. So you do the same thing over here. Engaged. And then standing upright, vertical, and my vise has a nice little slot here that allows me to engage the dummy connector. I'm going to drive my needle down inside and then bring it out with the material. So I'm absolutely certain that there is no air left. just to the top of that ledge. And what happens is that as the material cures, it will contract ever so slightly, making this, which seems high in the middle, flatten out. So that is the conclusion of the 90. Into the open end of the tool. Nice and cured. Is to remove the tool. You will notice that there is possibly some silicone potting material on the threads. Want to clean that off so that it doesn't interfere with the Loctite. So we have some more of it here. Clear that out of the threads, comes out really easily. Okay, now I'm going to inspect, make sure there are no bubbles. Surface is all good. And then we're going to use our Loctite primer very sparingly into the threads. Because this back shell, Loctite 243 blue, so the way to do this is to apply it to the threads. Make sure any loose pieces of silicone are removed. They're not floating around. Place the cap on. Now you want to engage your screws. Be careful not to drop them. You will never find them. And there aren't extras. These come as part of the kit. Get the threads started. You'll notice I'm wearing a glove. Loctite is not a friendly chemical to your skin. Prevent contact with it. Now I'll begin to set the screws. Now, there is a sequence of screwing these down, and it's for a purpose. You notice the cap sits a little proud. It also has an O-ring inside. So we want, starting with this screw here, and then the middle screw, and you'll notice that the cap angles, allowing the air to be pushed out as it's being closed down with the O-ring. And this eliminates trapped air from being inside the cap. So I just get it 4-inch pounds to then tighten the screws to the spec, which is 4-inch pounds. And I'm going to clean off any excess squeeze out of Loctite from the screws, and that completes the last part of the potting process as it pertains to the 90-degree back shell of the torque, because these are calibrated, so they all have a serial number. And the torque value is 4-inch pounds.